Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. And today we will be discussing what to do on your off days. So let's say you train hard for anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, or maybe you're a 3 to 4 guy, and you got questions as to what you should do in between. And that's what we're going to address on today's episode. Stay tuned. What is happening, gentlemen? I hope you guys are all having an excellent day. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit plugged up. Thank God it's not the COVID. It's just a little bit plugged up, so I apologize if I do sound a little bit nasal today. But that being said, going back to the topic at hand, and that question came up when a gentleman asked me, what should I do on my days off? And, should I take more than 2 days off? Should I take 3 days off? My initial answer to this question, my approach has always been this. I think that you should always give your body enough time to rest, in that, regardless of whatever part of the body you're training, you do need rest days to recover, right? But the difference here is that the recovery should still avoid retraction, right? And if you're going for girth, you should also be avoiding any type of shrinkage, right? So what I would recommend, regardless of how many off days you have, I think that when it comes to PE, you still have to employ some type of passive recovery. What I mean by this is that, let's say you're doing a full-on manual program, right? If you're doing a full-on manual program, it would not hurt to do some light jelqing for 20 minutes, And let's say you have no access to any devices whatsoever, so this will be 100% hands-free. I would still recommend that you do manual stretches, that you do some light jelqing. Nothing too harsh or nothing that is going to put too much strain on your penis, right? Just something that'll make sure that you kind of stay in an elongated state and that you stay in an expanded, engorged state. The worst thing that could happen to us in PE is shrinkage and obviously turtling. That will basically mean that if you do experience this at all, you'll probably be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, right? So you'll be doing yourself a disservice in not doing anything on your off days. When it comes to PE, like I said before, I think it's kind of it's continuous even on your off days, right? And when regards to, if you're a dude that's doing 100% manual, I would still recommend you dedicate at least 20 minutes and do some light stretches, do some light jelqing, do something to ensure that it does not retract, right? If you do have an awesome flaccid hang all day and you can tell that, hey, you look fantastic, I would still recommend doing the light stretching, light jelqing, and just make sure that you can maintain that. Obviously, as comfortable as possible. And the goal here on your off days is not to make the workout too strenuous at all. It's just to make sure that, your flaccid hang is good, all the physiological indicators check out, right? If you want to get hard, it's hard as a rock, all those things. And I get it, sometimes post-workout, if you've had a rather strenuous workout the day before, that can cause erectile levels to kind of not be, be a little bit subpar. And that is sometimes just a part of recovery. The more you do this, the more you'll start to understand your body a little bit better, and you'll see that it may not be the be-all, end-all, right? And it's like, hey, you know what? If I'm a little bit off today, maybe 5%, 10% lower as far as erectile quality kind of goes, just roll with it. If it's consistent and it keeps getting worse, then you probably got to lay off the workout, right? But that being said, if you have devices, right, an extender, an ADS, or even a hanger, right? If you got any one of these devices, I would highly, highly recommend that you utilize this on your days off, especially if you're going for length. Definitely slap on your ADS. Maybe you can make the tension, not as heavy as you might on your training days. And even then, I do believe that when it comes to using an ADS, you should make it as passive and as comfortable as possible. It's not about stretching it to the limit where you're in pain and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to take this thing off, right? The whole point of an ADS or an extender, in my opinion, is to obviously stretch the penis out, but you want to do it in a comfortable fashion, right? You do want to make sure that it's a passive, good stretch, and it's a stretch that doesn't cause any harm, any strain, or any, you know, yes, it will be a little bit uncomfortable at times, especially if you're nearing the end of a 4 hour, 5 hour stretch session. But that kind of comes with the territory. But you got to gauge it in a way that makes sense for you and in a way that it's comfortable and it's still, having a positive effect on your body. Right. So again, going back to the fact that this is an off day, I would still slap it on, maybe do some light stretches, and just let the passive healing in that elongated state just continue. Right. The whole purpose of being in that ADS is to ensure that you can heal in an elongated state, but in a comfortable state and in a way where, it's not too strenuous at all. You obviously want to check when you take it off that, it's still the flaccid hang is good and that the physiological indicators are all positive, right? Also, if you're using an extender, same deal, slap it on at the end of the day. And if you got both, definitely use both. Why not? But just make sure that it's not super heavy, right? So if you're using the extender after using the ADS and you're just chilling at home, just make sure that it's very, 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 very light. The whole purpose of these off days is to give your body time to recover, but obviously not retract. And that's kind of where using the ADS or the extender comes in to negate, the negative effects of retraction and turtling and shrinkage, all the stuff that we want to avoid. But it's not obviously to reach, maximal, the maximal stretch that you're looking for, to really, push the limits as far as pumping goes or anything like that. It's more of a passive approach, and it's a way to basically keep all that stuff at bay. Now, for all you pumpers out there, it's in the same vein as in the episode that I did in avoiding turtling by using pumping. You still want to pump, but you're not obviously going to pump to the extremes. You're not going to even look to necessarily pack the tube. You just want to make sure you get a good pump and that you can hold it for a good while. You want to make sure you slap on your cock ring or, any kind of constriction device that you have post-workout. You want to make sure it's comfortable. And the biggest thing, guys, when it comes to PE is, comfort and the duration of time that you can use these products or, keep your penis obviously hanging lower, fatter. The whole goal here is to basically stack these days and where you're making gains and you're seeing progress and just continue that for as long as possible. The goal here is obviously to avoid any kind of retraction and going in the wrong direction. Hence the whole reason of these light training days, whether it's pumping, and I'll get to hanging in a bit. But the whole purpose of these off days is to give your body time to recover, but make sure you stay big. You want to stay big, you want to stay swole, you want to stay engorged. The whole purpose here is to become as big as possible, right? And obviously, in order for us to do that, it's going to take a little bit of time. But with time and, the proper utilization of these off days, you can really maximize the gains that you're making and maximize the progress, right? And, I've seen a lot of guys that train 7 days a week. They don't take days off. And the reason why they do this, and I do believe that this theory makes sense, even watching Daniel when he made the massive progress that he did, he trained continuously. And I do think that's an excellent way to go about it. But I also feel that, if you are looking to rest up and, whether your schedule, like for me, scheduling is kind of the biggest factor, right? But if you are going to have off days, make sure you do a little something just to ensure that you can keep progressing in the right direction. The worst thing you want to do is take a day off, 2 days off, 3 days off, and nothing gets done, right? If nothing gets done, well, the worst case scenario is that you're going to stay stagnant, and that's obviously not what we want to do. And with light days where you're training, you're obviously not training as hard, but you're still able to make some good positive changes to your body, right? And that's where doing these light stretches, these light jelks, all this good stuff, that's kind of where it comes into play. Now, hanging. Hanging is another one that obviously I think is excellent. But if you're going to hang on an off day, all I would recommend here is just kind of minimize the weight that you're going to use, right? All you got to do is minimize it. If you're feeling fatigue already, it's already creeping in pretty quick, then, just use a lighter weight and don't focus so much on going for the heavier weights. If you already feel that your legs are kind of fatigued and you're kind of feeling maybe, the glands are a little bit fatigued from doing a heavy hang session the day before, you can definitely use hanging as well. just don't focus on, reaching that max weight or going to where you usually go, and just minimize it and just increase the duration of time. You'll still find good positive benefits from this, right? The only disclaimer that I have here is that in order to avoid retraction after, a light day or a heavy day, is obviously slap on that extender, man. Slap on that ADS. Cop the gel to gain extender. Use the promo code MHS10. Extremely comfortable. Vacuum sleeve, which is, I think, the way to go when it comes to hangers. I'm more of a fan of vac hangers than I am compression hangers, right? But that's just me. If you do have a compression hanger, then hey, utilize it. Right, whatever you have, hey, work with what you got, right? And just make sure that on your off days, your light days, you're training in a way that isn't so much about, heavy weight and just kind of really, having to focus on making it through the workout. It's more of a passive approach, right? These light days, these off days, I mean, it's pretty much just doing your normal workout, but in a way more passive approach, right? And if you do this, you will definitely render some good solid gains, and you'll be able to minimize the amount of time that it takes for you to get to where you want to get. And that's just by having that passive, lighter approach. Like I said, passive healing, passive PE is pretty much one of the biggest keys that I think people may negate at times. I think it's one of the greatest ways to go about making the gains that you want. Whether you're looking for length, whether you're looking for girth, it's always important to make sure that, you can keep your penis in an expanded, engorged, and the biggest state possible. Because ultimately, guys, that is the whole purpose here. We are looking to make gains in every arena. Regardless of who you are, maybe, I know different guys might just be like, hey, man, I just want length. Other guys just want girth. I mean, my wife tells me the only thing she's interested in more girth, but hey, I still want more length, just for my ego. But it is what it is, guys. So just to sum it all up, just to wrap it up, if you are going to take advantage of these passive of your off days, make sure you just do it in a light, good, safe fashion, guys. All right? No need to up the ante on this day. Until next time, take care and stay safe. Well, that's all for today's episode. Again, if you are looking for a good hanger, a good ADS, definitely check out Gel to Gains products. Excellent products made by Daniel Gray. Very happy to have him on the show and have him explain, how this wonderful device works. Again, if you want to get your stuff, make sure you use the promo code MHS10, get 10% off. Also, if you are just looking to learn a little bit more about PE, maybe you want to do a hands-free program, definitely check out masculinehealthsolutions.com. More good stuff on the website. Get in touch with me there. I'm always glad to hear from you guys. All right, till next time.